Thank you for downloading this podcast from the British Theatre Guide. For more information about British Theatre Guide, please visit britishtheatreguide.info. In December 2016, the Lawrence Batley Theatre in Huddersfield will be staging its first professional pantomime since it opened in 1994. Its version of Cinderella, written by leading panto writer, director and performer Andrew Pollard, will be directed by Joyce Branagh, who has previously directed pantos at Watford Palace Theatre and Salisbury Playhouse. I spoke to Joyce as she was listening through some of the music for the panto before starting rehearsals, but it was also just after the opening of the latest JB Shorts, a regular evening of new short plays by television scriptwriters, which had just moved to a brand new venue in Manchester called 53-2, and for which Joyce had directed a frantic and very funny 15-minute version of Wuthering Heights. I asked her what brought her to direct that particular piece.
Well, I've directed for JB Shorts before.
Yeah.
And I know Lindsay and Peter who wrote it, Lindsay Williamson, Peter Kerry who wrote it. And I was approached by Roger Haynes to direct it. And actually, when he said, "Oh, are you interested in directing for JB this time?" I nearly said no, because it just happened to have, you sort of freelance, you kind of put things in the diary and stuff. And I was working on a new play, doing a rehearsed reading the week before. So I thought that'll be too busy to do both at the same time. And then he said, "Oh, it's Wuthering Heights in 15 minutes." I thought, that sounds funny, doesn't it? So then I read it and I thought, oh, that'll be fun to do. So I kind of said, all right, I'll do it if it's all right that I'm not around for these days and if someone helps me with costume, because normally with JB you're doing something modern and you can kind of cobble together some outfits between you. But I thought, well, I haven't got many items in the wardrobe, that are going to be suitable for this. So if you give me a hand with that, and then it'll be great. So yeah, and I do love a bit of hat swapping comedy, and we're really lucky. We've got 4 smashing performers who really get that style.
Yeah.
Sort of, it's that thing of you do it seriously, but it's heightened, but it's kind of a weird mix. And when we were auditioning people, some people really got it, and some people really didn't.
Yeah.
And it only works if you can do that style. And so we were really lucky that we got 4 people that could do it and work really well together and work really hard. Because JB is about sort of working around everyone else's commitments. So Amy Drake, who's in it, for instance, was being an owl in Chester Zoo during the daytime and then coming to me for 3 hours in an evening and being Nellie Dean, and so they've all worked really hard, and the others all had projects and things that they were working around as well. So it's so a lot of hard work actually for such a short thing. But
well, yeah, I get that impression.
Yeah,
something like that. It was very physical as well. I've been watching JB for years, and you think some directors underestimated how much rehearsal you need for 15-minute piece, but yours in particular, everything has to be spot on for the comedy to work. So how much rehearsal does that take?
Not as much as we wanted.
It never is, though, is it?
I think we had about 6 sessions of kind of 3 hours.
Yeah. Which to the uninitiated sounds quite a lot for a 15-minute piece, isn't it?
Yeah, but as you say, it's quite hard to do that. So there's a bit where he grabs her hat and it goes up in the air and they sort of yell to each other and then they're running around the stage. And I just know that just to get the timing of that, took probably about half an hour in its own.
Yes.
So it's like you said. I think people sort of think, oh, it's only a quarter of an hour, but I actually tried to work out how long you would spend on an hour and a half play, and worked out that I would need 18 hours to do it. I actually did it quite scientifically because I'm a bit of a nerd. I went, I need to have at least 6 sessions.
Yeah. And
I think actually we might have had 5 in the end. And the couple we had, I only had the girls for one of the sessions, and I was down an actor on 2 sessions as well. So it's that kind of thing where you go, okay, well we'll do that bit, and I'll be Robin. Oh no, I haven't thrown the hat. Oh no, but it's they work very hard, and I think I'm really pleased with the result actually, because I think it's silly and quite slick, and so. And
it's a great finale to the evening as well, because it just leaves the audience breathless, but wanting to stand up and applaud, because it seems it ends on such a high, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, that's really, I have to say, just sitting in the audience, I have to be a little proud glow. As I can see people, because you can see people at first going, what's this then? This isn't a modern contemporary take on satire, or whatever, which, is maybe a JB style.
Yeah.
And you've just had the last piece, which is brilliant, rebrand. And that's and so sort of it takes a minute for people to kind of go, say what?
Yeah.
And then by the end they're really into it, and it's great fun. Great fun.
And that takes us into the next thing, which is what we're really supposed to be talking about today.
Yeah.
You've gone from one brand new venue in Manchester to not a new venue, but the first ever professional panto at the Lawrence Batley Theatre in Huddersfield, the first one since it opened in 1994. So how did this come about?
Is it the first one ever? I knew it was the first one for a while. It might be the first.
That's what I've got in my press release. The venue's first professional pantomime since it opened its doors in 1994. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go. And yes, we're gearing up for it now. As I was listening to popular tunes from the hit parade just before your call. So it's we're just pulling all the strands together before we go into rehearsals in a week's time. And it's a great script. It's by Andrew Pollard, who is based in my hometown now of Topperden.
Yeah. Is he? He's up north now, is he?
Oh yeah, he's lived up north for a long time. He does the Greenwich panto.
Yes,
but he decamps down to London for a few months every year.
He's one of the big names in panto, though, isn't he?
He is Mr. Panto.
Yes.
He is. So he's writing, directing, and starring in his own one at Greenwich, and then he's writing 4 others. So yeah, but the reason is he's good. He's really good. Yeah. When I was directing panto at Salisbury, they did ask me for a recommendation, and I said Andy Pollard, just because what he manages to do is write a traditional pantomime, but with modern touches, and they are properly funny.
Yeah.
And they're not rude, but they have that nod to jokes that the adults will get, which the children won't. But they're not rude jokes. They're just wordplay or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's also loads of stuff in there for the kids as well. And that's the key. It's because a lot of pantos say they're a family experience, but quite often they don't quite get it right. It's quite tricky to get the balance where you've got everyone in the auditorium laughing. You've got who are from 5 to 85 or whatever, that old cliche. But to get everyone laughing is a knack, and he's got it.
Yeah.
So it's lovely to you start from that base of having a great script. And then we've got some lovely people in it. And they're all really good comedy performers. There's a few people in there. You go. There's a sort of northern circuit, isn't there, of actors who work at the various theatres. And there's a couple in there that I've wanted to work with for a while, and then suddenly go, oh, they're free. They're free. Great. Let's get them in. And a couple of people I've worked with before, and a couple of people that I've seen in stuff but haven't worked with, and one person who's brand new, just auditioned and was recommended, and so a sort of mix of new faces and old faces for me, but all with comedy bones.
Yeah.
And great voices in there. There's going to be some lovely dancing. So I am very excited about it.
You can tell, yes.
Yeah, I know. I do love it. I think there's some people who kind of go, oh, panto, I'll do it, I'll get through it, to pay the rent. But I do genuinely love panto, and I think when it's cared for and done properly, it really is a fantastic art form. And I think a lot of people dismiss it as tosh, and there are some dreadful, uncared for pantos out there that are just thrown together for the money. But there are lots of really good ones that, all of the teams that work on them as hard as they would, on a classical piece of theatre, to get it right. And again, it's that, I think it's undervalued as a skill, performing in panto. Me and Andy Pollard have very nerdy conversations about it, but it's to be able to do that thing of engaging the audience almost immediately and getting them on side, but not patronising, but funny, but charming, and attractive in whatever way that character needs to be, or being the baddie, but doing it in such a way that the audience, the younger members of the audience anyway, aren't scared, but are enjoying the baddie. All those things are real skills. And, I know from auditioning people who can't do it, how difficult it is, because you kind of think, oh, well, you do this, that, and the other, and you just come on and do it. But you don't, because it doesn't work. I think it is. I think it's an undervalued skill, that kind of comedy generally, but panto, that style. It's
one of those things that, auditions quite often don't really tell you a great deal about the person auditioning anyway, but I think more so in panto, because whatever happens at the audition, to some extent in rehearsals as well, it's different when you're in front of an audience, because it depends so much on the audience responding, doesn't it?
It does, but if you do it often enough, there's ways of encouraging the audience to respond, and sometimes it's boringly how you phrase it. And again, Andy Pollard knows how to do this. About getting those call and response and getting everyone to join in rather than just a couple of eager people. And just the way that the baddie walks on can affect how many boos they get. And how they invite it, and how they can squash it, and that's a learnt skill.
Yeah, it's not just getting the reactions, but I think probably more from the baddie than anybody else. You need to be able to stop them as well, don't you?
Yeah, but again, some of that's within the script.
Yeah,
it's about and also having a few silly put-downs up your sleeve that the audience then laugh and they stop shouting at you for a minute once you get on. But because I see sometimes it can kind of run away, can't it? Or you have sections of the script that the actors end up not doing because they go, you can't hear it.
Yes,
the audience is screaming too much. But
another thing that you need to get the balance of is there are certain panto traditions that people expect, but the most successful pantos that push at those traditions, push at the boundaries a bit and stretch them. So, are you doing anything that's surprising or different in this that's going to surprise people a bit?
Are we doing anything? Well, we've got obviously we have cross-dressing because you do, but we've got cross-dressing. So we've got a woman pretending to be a bloke, pretending to be a woman, pretending to be a prince. So you've got that kind of
almost Shakespearean.
A bit confused. Yes, exactly. And sharing that with the audience, but obviously several characters on stage not getting it.
Yes.
Despite the fact that that's obviously a woman.
Yeah.
Kind of, just in some sort of short tunic. But yes, we're doing a bit of that. And I think sometimes it's just the tone, and it's the twinkle in the eye, and it's the references to the hometown. So there'll be a few references that the people of Huddersfield will get and wouldn't mean anything anywhere else, but will work. And I think those things, I think you sort of underestimate how much they hit home. I remember I did a panto at Watford, and we had a joke. The wicked stepmother. It was Cinderella as well, actually. Wicked stepmother said, "Right, we're off to the ball. God knows we're going to get a taxi at this time of night in Watford," because it was notoriously bad to get a taxi. And I saw the kid in front of me turn to her mum and went, "But that's where we live." And the mum was giggling away, and I just you see the kids like, "Oh my God, they're in Watford," and I think it's and just taking the Mickey out of your nearby town, stuff that we all like a dig at our nearby town. So there's a bit of that, and I think those kind of things you can just be a bit cheeky with it, and so yeah, I think we're doing that.
Yeah, you said it's Cinderella, and you've said apparently that it's your favourite panto. So what do you like about Cinderella?
Well, Cinderella has got a great story. And, when I say great story, a lot of pantos, the story is pretty minimal.
Yes.
and then you go to exciting places and stuff. But Cinderella, you know the story, so people know that she's working in the kitchens, that she goes to the ball, about the pumpkin, Home by 12, glass slippers, Prince Charming. You've got all those elements that everyone knows. Yeah. So you've got that expectation in the audience as well, which is lovely and sort of drives the story forwards, because you know as soon as you get to the ball and there's a big clock, you go, "Oh, yeah, you've got to keep an eye on that clock," all of that kind of thing. So I like it from that point of view. And I've seen a few Cinderellas where Cinderella's a bit sappy, and I'm not keen on that. So we've got a very strong heroine, and she's funny, and she's got strong songs, and she's lovely. Do you know Nisa Cole? She's going to be our. No. She was in Waterloo Road for a while as Amy Porter. She's just been in Moonstone, the BBC costume drama. Right. And I've worked with her a couple of times. I worked with her. I did Around the World in 80 Days, where she played the very silly Passepartout. Yes. And so she's not just standing there going, "Oh, hello, I'm pretty." Yeah. She's being as silly, as the prince and as the ugly sisters at times. So, and I like that. I like everyone.
Well, there's been a push for that the past few years in panto to get the heroines to be stronger rather than just submissive.
Yeah. Yeah, but also she's stronger and funny, because quite often they're strong and feisty, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. Do you know what I mean? Yes. They're just perfect, whereas she's a bit silly as well, and clumsy, and and I think it just. And obviously from Huddersfield. I don't know if you knew that Cinderella was from Huddersfield. No. But she is. Yeah, well, it's something I didn't know, but yeah, she's from Huddersfield. So so you've got your strong, funny local lass, leading the way as well, which I think's important, for the young lasses in the audience to see, someone not taking themselves too seriously but also getting the nice frock. And and I've seen the picture the costume department took of Nisa in her frock, and she looks very pleased with her ball frock. When you go, "Oh yeah, yes, got the frock." That's I like having a bit of that.
It's an odd story for a panto compared to some of them, though, because, well, for one thing, the female is in the title, which is quite unusual. But then you've got two dames who also double up. They double up as the villains as well, don't they? So in panto terms, it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Well, it is. The two dames. Well, I think what we've got happening in this one, and I think my personal taste for Cinderella is not really to have the uglies as the villains per se, because it's quite tricky to laugh at someone and then boo them. Yes. So most of the evilness is taken up by our Baroness, so their mum. Yeah. So she's the proper baddie, and they're silly baddies. So you can laugh at them, because otherwise I think it's very confusing. Do you know what I mean? Yes. I don't know. I like when you come on, but I have to boo you. So so they're more silly, and they're brash brash women.
Yeah, so they'd be like the incompetent policeman or something like that in another panto.
Yes.
Knockabout
exactly.
comedy, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of silliness with that. And them thinking they're gorgeous.
Yes.
Perhaps they aren't. We did some photos out in Huddersfield the other day with the two lads playing Miley and Kylie. And they were causing a bit of a storm in Huddersfield,
yes.
Skate Shopping Centre. Lots of selfies were had, and they were just kept sort of running at any blokes that were in uniform, scaring them, and chatting to ladies about their outfits and stuff. It was very funny. It was just standing at the side, kind of keeping an eye on them, trying not to get in any photos, and watching them work the crowd instantly. I can't honestly. The two chaps turned up, and they're blokes, and they were like, "Oh, hello, blah blah blah, Joyce," and they put the frocks and makeup on, and suddenly they were, "Hello," and they had really nice frocks as well that we've got for them. So they were enjoying that. And, enjoying causing a stir in Huddersfield Town Centre.
Well, it's good practice as well, because street theatre's really hard work and getting a response, isn't it? And you're in daylight, so you can't hide from the audience at all, can you?
No, they went for it.
Yeah.
They absolutely went for it. It's got Mike Hugo and Richard Hand, who are both comedy geniuses. And one's very small and one's very tall, so you've got it's sort of physical nonsense going on already, and then obviously the outfits emphasise that. And they were playing around.
It's a boys and frocks thing as well. I mean, sometimes when I've been teaching in schools and we've been doing Red Riding Hood, all the boys want to be Granny for some reason.
Yeah, what is it?
I don't know.
But it's I don't know. It's something. I don't know. It's something. It's maybe you're not allowed. So let's have a go at it. And they were. I think much more. I think it's somehow when you've got that kind of huge outfit on and the makeup, it's like wearing a mask as well. So
it is. Yeah.
You are just somebody else, and also because for one reason or other we have got that that sort of cultural identity, haven't we, with pantomime dames.
Yeah.
So when we were going around, it was really nice just walking around Huddersfield, because when people would clock them, instantly grinning.
Yeah.
And it was really nice, because it was a bit of a grey day.
Yeah.
And as soon as people saw them, even before they'd kind of waved at them or made some comment to them, they were already grinning. So, and that is what I like about panto. You just sort of, hopefully you just come in, relax and have a couple of hours of very silly fun,
Where do you start when you're directing a panto? Is it much different to directing a play or anything else?
Is it? In some ways, not actually. I remember working with an actor a few years ago on panto, and he'd done a commercial panto the year before. Or no, a couple of years before. In fact, had said, "I'm not doing panto again," because he felt it was that there wasn't enough rehearsal time, that it was a bit thrown together, and you almost had to bed the show in, on stage in performance, And he said, "You're treating this like you would a play, aren't you? And I was like, "Yes." Why don't other people? And he was like, "No, they don't." And I've done my blocking and I've worked it out, and I've already had a couple of meetings with the choreographer, and me and Bex, the MD, have been chatting on the phone about how we get in and out of songs and stuff. So we've already, had those conversations, because it's still quite a short rehearsal time, but you just want to make it as good as it can be, and and I do love getting into that in rehearsals, getting into that intricacy of, I don't know, is it funnier to hit him with your left hand or your right hand, or is it funnier if you sat down when you do it, and those kind of things, and you just sort of try it and you go, oh yeah, and it's stuff like mentioning shops, and I can't remember what we were. It was one year we were doing it, and we were kind of saying, oh blah. Tesco's, and somebody said, yeah, but Woolworths is funnier than Tesco's.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it is. It's just, it's funnier to say I'm going to Woolworths than it is to say I'm going to Tesco's. Don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's just but trying those things out in rehearsal, going, oh no, that's funnier.
Yes.
And people in the room who get it as well, who know those kind of rhythms and know that I have to look at the ground, look at the audience, look at him, look back to the audience, and then fall over.
Yeah.
Rather than just falling over is. It's just all those little things which just make people belly laugh rather than chuckle that I find.
Yeah.
Again, I sound like a nerd, but I find that really fascinating. And when you get it right, and indeed when, as we were saying, we sit at the back of the auditorium and people are having a really good time, I do get a bit warm and fuzzy, just because it's. I always want to go around and go, do you know how long it took to get that bit right? They worked really hard at that.
Yeah.
Because it's actually quite hard to do those moves and say the lines and fall over at the same time without hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So... But you have to make it all look effortless. So in a way,
right, yeah.
It just happens.
You want them to notice, but you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I just talk to them all afterwards. So, audience member, did you know that took half an hour to rehearse, just that little tiny section?
Yeah, and the best comedians, I mean, even stand-up, they do work on little things. I mean, I've heard comedians say a word beginning with a K or something is funnier than a word beginning with something else. And nobody knows why, but it just is.
No, I worked with Justin Morehouse a couple of years ago, just on his stand-up show. He just said, I just fancy an outside eye on it.
Yeah.
And that was quite interesting, because you can just sort of say some stuff that, and, you're doing that joke, and that's a kind of 10, that joke. Or you're maybe finishing on an 8. So I think you need to finish on the 10 one, because they're both good jokes, but that one just nails it a bit more. And, and just trying to get that sort of structure and stuff and things. It to make it look effortless takes a lot of work.
Yes.
It's that kind of thing. And even like ad-libs, a lot of the ad-libs are practiced.
Yes, of course.
I mean, they also will ad-lib. I'm sure they will. I've got some terrors in there who will just, add quarter of an hour to the show. But some of them you sort of have up your sleeve as well, that you just know work.
Yeah, there are certain things that you can predict the audiences will do and say, if not every night, they will do it at some point.
Yeah. So you have a few up your sleeve, and then a few that maybe just come out depending on who's there and what they shout and all of that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's when having really experienced performers pays off, because they're not thrown by that. They get excited by that, and they go with it.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the more experienced performers quite often, particularly in a really big theatre, because they seem to be getting eye contact with the audience rather than just sort of glazing over and looking through them and just saying the lines.
I remember, doing a panto a few years ago, and I think we'd done a couple of sort of previews, and I think we had another one, and then we were doing the press night, and I was saying, it's fine, but you're not getting across to the audience.
Yeah.
You're kind of looking, but you're not really looking. You have to, and with panto, it feels, I'm doing it with my hands at the minute, but you have to really kind of throw it over to them. It's not, I mean, that's why a lot of it happens at the front of the stage.
Yeah.
Because you're really pushing it out to them. It's not a play where there's no fourth wall ever.
No.
All of it's going out.
Yeah.
All of it's shared. And you have to work quite hard to do that. It doesn't just happen.
No.
And it's an energy thing. And that's hard, when you're doing 2 shows a day, for several weeks, and it's, the second show on a Thursday.
Yes.
and you've probably got cold because they do go around companies, and you've still got to come up with that energy and check it out there. It's, it's tricky.
So have you got any of the traditional set routines, like the slosh scene, he's behind you, the song sheet?
We've got a song sheet. We've got have we got a behind you? Oh yes, of course we have. Yes, of course we have. Yes, we've got a behind you. We've got a sort of slosh, more of a sort of comedy routine.
Yeah.
With only a tiny bit of mess, not too much mess this year. Just leave the tech teams to go. This first panto for a while. Let's not make you have to clear up slosh between shows. And we've got Oh No He Isn't, Oh Yes He Is, lots of that. And yes, there's quite a few of those with the baddie. And so I think we've got all the major elements. Yeah. We shall see. Sometimes you suddenly kind of get through halfway through rehearsal and go, "Oh, we're not doing that. Oh, we need to squeeze one of those in."
Yes.
Or with a call out with Buttons as well. Obviously, whenever he comes on, everyone has to call out.
Yeah.
So it's. I remember I had a mate of mine. She was quite posh, and she'd for some reason she'd never been to panto. But was somebody who kind of, and we were all saying you'd love panto, and we took her to one, and for some reason we'd only got kind of last minute tickets. We couldn't sit together for some reason, and so I saw her at half time, and she was like, "But it's like you said, we all shouting out, and I thought you were making it up." And I said, no, we all do the thing. You all say behind you, and she's like, I was shouting out, and she just couldn't quite. And another chap I worked when I was working on a piece with the African and Caribbean Association on a new piece of writing, and then I said, I'm doing panto next. And and I was like, have you seen a panto? And this sort of very upright Nigerian man was like, no, I've never seen a pantomime. And I was like, oh, you've got kids, haven't you? And he said, yeah. And I said, I'll get you a couple of tickets. You must come and see it. And he rang me up the next day, and it was that same kind of, what? I really enjoyed it. And then the bad guy came on, and everyone was booing, and and he just couldn't quite get his head around it. And then and we had the song sheet, and I said, did you join in? And he said, yes, I did. And that made me chuckle, because he's sort of, the sort of person who would always wear a shirt and tie, whatever the weather. And just to think of him doing the song sheet actions with his kids, that made me chuckle. And it's
a great leveller, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you find yourself doing it because you look slightly more stupid not doing it.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that it's this really odd tradition that we've got. That we initiate new people into. So I hope there's some new people that come along to the Huddersfield one that maybe haven't pantoed before and kind of just get into it, because you pick it up pretty quick.
Yes, yeah.
So
I mean, you're saying before about people who do panto thinking it'll pay the bills, because I mean it's a huge money spinner once a year for theatres and for performers and stage crew. But there are people like you who are just steeped in panto, and some are doing it all year round, preparing for it or writing, like Andy.
Yeah. Well, I was having meetings about this in January. So,
Why do you think, I mean, really, it's a relic of old-fashioned variety theatre, and it even goes back to music hall. So why do you think it still has that appeal to a modern audience?
Well, I think it's just, when it's done properly, it's just funny. It's that thing of, why is someone falling over funny? Don't know. It just is. And it's funny. It just, and if you get the right people, right script, doing it well, it is properly joyous, And I remember going to see a panto, not one of mine. I go to see a panto, somebody else who's being brilliant. And this kid was watching it, and I heard her at the end say to her mum, can we put it on again? Because obviously she used to, DVDs.
Yeah.
And mum was like, oh no, that's it, finished. And properly cried, because she'd obviously had so much fun. She wanted to watch it again straight away. And it is great if you get it right and you can get the whole family doing it. Because obviously I love theatre anyway, and that whole live experience of somehow a group of people sat in the dark, all having this same kind of one-off experience, because obviously every night at the theatre is slightly different.
Yeah.
And it's about being with that particular group of people, isn't it, as well?
Yes,
it's not that the night you happen to go on is, somebody with a funny laugh, over on the left that everyone else starts laughing at, or somebody wolf whistling the dame or whatever on that particular moment. And it's just this shared experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's great anyway with any theatre. I think that's why I do it, because there's something very exciting about it. Well, not when it's bad. When it's bad, it's rubbish. But when it's good, it's very exciting. And I think with pantomime, because it is that intergenerational thing, because we're all sat there knowing it's nonsense, but still wanting, the Prince and Cinderella to get together somehow. Yeah. Even though we know they fell in love in 30 seconds. But if the story's enough of a drive, you do find yourself wanting, it all to tie up nicely, and I hope the baddie comes on again, even though they're the baddie, because I want to boo them. Yeah. There's something. Yeah, I think it's about that. There is something for everyone, and it's just plain fun. You're not trying to get any subtext. You're just going for a good fun, probably with your family, or your mates, and other people's families and mates, and there's something about it coming up to Christmas as well. Yes. That or around that time that just makes it quite exciting, especially getting up to Christmas when the kids are almost bouncing off the ceilings before the show started, let alone afterwards. Yeah. I think it's I think don't unpick it. It works. It works.
Fine. Let's not analyse it any further then. But you don't just do panto and silly comedy. Recently, you were touring, performing yourself around libraries and town halls with Boomtown Gals, which unfortunately I missed.
I know,
but I've heard some great things about it. So, is anything else going to happen with that?
Probably yes.
Right.
I have to say that it went even better than I was hoping, and. There's quite a few people that have kind of said, if you're doing it again, we'll take it and stuff. Yeah. So at the minute, it's looking like I'm going to try another project with Oldham Libraries and maybe look to tour something that comes out of that with Boomtown Gals, maybe the year after next, maybe. But who knows? It's that thing of, again, the producing of things just takes more effort than it looks like, because I think a few people think, there's only a one-woman show. Yeah, come and do it at our place. And you go, well, I can't just do it. One, I'd have to re-rehearse it, and also, because I think it has all dissolved out of my head now. And also, costumes were hired, and set was hired, and, and then I'd need to get a technician, and it's not just, just pop over and do it. It's not.
Not like stand-up comedy.
It maybe looks like a kind of stand-up routine, but there's more to it than that. And, so it's sort of getting my head around that sort of producing side that I maybe shy away from a bit, really. Yeah. I didn't for that. I decided I was going to go for it and do it. And I'm really glad I did it, because it was incredibly scary. Yeah. And partly, just on that, she's written a play and she's going to be in it. So there was a bit of that going on, worries about that. And also just, doing a one-woman piece, whoever wrote it, is quite daunting. Yeah. But I had lovely Alex Toll as my director, so it felt like I was in good hands. And she did cast me. I didn't tell her that I was in it. I said, you can cast it how you want. And she said, well, wouldn't you be in it? And I said, well, possibly, but let's leave that open. Yeah. Let's see what I write, and let's see what you think. But we'd worked together before, and she felt I could do it, which was nice. And, I sort of trusted her enough for her to say, actually, I don't think you're the right person for it. Yeah. So I was quite prepared to not do it, because I thought that would be much less scary yes. option. But we did it, and it went well, and it was lovely in a way, because we'd done research in Oldham and with community groups, And then it was obviously based on, or maybe not obviously, it was based on real people who lived in Oldham and had been involved in World War One in whatever way. We met ancestors of those people, and that was very exciting. One who just came up on Twitter, who just said, I was looking up something on the WI Twitter feed, and I saw that they'd gone to see this play called Boomtown Girls, which they'd all loved, which was about a woman called Sarah Rosebery, who is my great aunt. So we got in touch, and they came and showed me where this performer who I'd written fictionally about, based on a few facts that I'd found out about her, had played top of the bill in Scunthorpe in 1912, and they had a poster of it, and it was lovely to meet them. And the man, it was his auntie, so he did know her and stuff, and told us about a time when he said, she was a very quiet woman when I met her, I was a kid, but there was this fundraising do, and she was asked to do her act. And he said she just lit up and sort of lost 20 years, and suddenly, her voice reached to the back of this big hall, and she was singing and telling jokes, and I thought, that's quite amazing that you remember her as well. Do you know what I mean? So that was a lovely thing to come out of it, the sort of the historical aspect and people sharing their stories as well as actually the play. Yeah. So yeah.
So, but panto first before any of that comes back. I can tell you're really looking forward to getting into rehearsals and getting stuck into it.
Yeah, no, I've been having conversations about it all week, so I've got a bit excited now. So it's that kind of all the different elements coming together. And as I said, sort of speaking to Bex Hughes, the MD, about it, and just trying to finalise how we get in and out of songs, and she's arranging them, and talking to Rachel G, who's doing the choreography, and trying to get all the things in place. I'm just doing last minute tweaks of the script before I send it out to the actors, and I've got my head in panto man now.
Cinderella, directed by Joyce Branagh, will be at Lawrence Batley Theatre in Huddersfield from the 9th to the 31st of December 2016. For more information, see www.thelbt.org. To learn more about JB Shorts, see www.jbshorts.co.uk, and for information about the new Manchester venue 532, see 532, that's the numbers 53 and then TWO.com. Finally, Joyce's own website is at www.joycebranagh.co.uk. You've been listening to a podcast from British Theatre Guide. For more information, please visit britishtheatreguide.info.